Well, if we believe US military intelligence, the war in the Ukraine could start this week, perhaps as early as Wednesday. Either way, there's been an intense round of diplomacy going on, people flying in and out of Kiev, of Moscow, global leaders on long telephone conversations, France, Germany, America, and of course, the United Kingdom too. We're told that Boris Johnson, after a Cobra meeting tomorrow, will be on a whistle-stop tour of Europe in an attempt to stop the war. And the Prime Minister today said, in a visit to Rosyth Dockyard, we need to learn the lessons of 2014. Well, what happened in 2014 in the Ukraine was a revolution, albeit a pretty peaceful one. An elected leader removed from office, and then, of course, the Crimea taken by Vladimir Putin's forces. And yes, Mr. Johnson, we do need to learn the lessons of 2014 because it was the European Union wanting to expand, wanting the Ukraine to join it, that directly led to that revolution, and people stood there in the squares of Kiev waving European Union flags, their country having already been the beneficiary of pre-accession aid. That's money to you and me. I have thought for 30 years that the NATO policy, the EU policy of expanding ever eastwards was a huge strategic error. Yes, we know the Russians can be paranoid, but why poke the Russian bear with a stick? And if Vladimir Putin's one demand is that we state clearly that the Ukraine is not going to join NATO, why don't we do it? Well, some of you may say, isn't that appeasement? Isn't that giving in? But ask yourself a different question. What possible strategic benefit or asset could it be to us for the Ukraine to join NATO? Absolutely none whatsoever that I can see. So I think what Boris Johnson needs to do is to rethink the geopolitics of all of this, to convince other EU leaders, to convince the Americans that that is what we need to say. We take away Putin's casus belli. And actually, I think if Putin gets that, he won't invade and a war can be avoided. That's my view. That's my take. No one I speak to thinks the Ukraine joining NATO is a good idea, yet nobody out there says what I've just said, that we should state clearly that they're not going to join.